The Fullerton Hotel Singapore is a five-star luxury hotel located near the mouth of the Singapore River, in the downtown core of Central Area, Singapore. It was originally known as the Fullerton Building, and also as the General Post Office Building. The address is 1 Fullerton Square. History Fullerton Building The Fullerton Building was named after Robert Fullerton, the first governor of the Strait Settlements. Commissioned in 1919 as part of the British colony's centennial celebrations, the building was designed as an office building by Major P.H. Keyes of Keyes and Dowdeswell, a Shanghai firm of architects, which won the project through an architectural design competition. The architectural firm also designed the Capitol Theatre and the Singapore General Hospital. Fort Fullerton and the Singapore Stone The northern end of the building covers the site of Fort Fullerton, a fort built in 1829 to defend the settlement against any naval attacks. In 1843, the fort was extended after a sandstone monolith, the Singapore Stone, with an inscription possibly dating back to the 13th century was demolished. A fragment of this monolith was salvaged and preserved in the collection of the National Museum at Stamford Road. The fort gave way to the first General Post Office in the Exchange Building in 1874. Plans to erect Fullerton Building were drawn up in 1920. However, due to a lack of funds, construction only began in February 1924. Built at a cost of $4.1 million and after delays of a few months, the building was completed in June 1928. The Fullerton Building was opened on June 27, 1928 by the Governor, Sir Hugh Clifford, who suggested the building be named after Robert Fullerton. The building had 5 founding tenants: the General Post Office, the Exchange, Singapore Club, the Marine Department, and the Import and Export Department. It also housed the Chamber of Commerce, and various government departments dealing with agriculture, fisheries and forestry. General Post Office The General Post Office was the anchor tenant, which only moved in a fortnight after the Fullerton Building's official opening. GPO covered the 2 lower floors with postal halls, offices and sorting rooms. There were mail drops through which mail would fall to a band conveyor on the basement and dispatched up to the sorting room. The basement was connected to a 35-meter subway that ran underneath Fullerton Road to a pier, where overseas mail would be transferred to or picked up from ships. Singapore Club The exclusive Singapore Club rented premises on the upper floors of the building to provide for their members' need and comfort. There were rooms where members dined, lounged, conferred, and played billiards and cards. Bedrooms on the attic story provide accommodation for members. When the Economic Development Board was formed in 1961, it evicted the Singapore Club from the Fullerton Building. Subsequently, the Singapore Club relocated to Clifford House at Collyer Quay and then to Stroads Trading Building on Battery Road near Boat Quay, vacating Fullerton Building for use by EDB and more government offices. World War II In the last days before Britain's surrender to Japan in 1942, the building was used as a hospital, with makeshift operation rooms for wounded British soldiers. During the Japanese occupation of Singapore, Governor Sir Shenton Thomas and Lady Thomas sought refuge in the sleeping quarters of the Singapore Club. The Fullerton Building was also where General Percival discussed with Sir Shenton the possibility of surrendering Singapore to the Japanese. Subsequently, Fullerton Building became the headquarters of the Japanese military administration in Singapore. Post-war years From the 1970s to 1995, the Inland Revenue Authority of Singapore used the building as its headquarters. The General Post Office, under Singapore Post, vacated the building in March 1996. Internal alterations were carried out on the building by the Public Works Department in 1985. Though plans were initiated to conserve the Fullerton Building after that, it was only gazetted as a conservation building by the Singapore government in 1997. Redevelopment In 1997, Sinolan Company Limited, a sister company of Far East Organisation, acquired the Fullerton Building from the Urban Redevelopment Authority. It spent close to another 300 million Singapore dollars converting Fullerton Building into a hotel and building the 2-story commercial complex 1 Fullerton opposite Fullerton Road. Renovation works on the Fullerton Building were completed on December 8, 2000. The Fullerton Hotel Singapore was officially opened by then Prime Minister Goh Chok Tong on January 1, 2001. The site, sandwiched between the Civic District and the Central Business District, was sold together with an underpass and the seafront site on which One Fullerton now stands for 110 million Singapore dollars. The two are linked by an air-conditioned underground pedestrian walkway with travellators. To ensure that the historical Fullerton Building continues to be visible from Marina Bay, URA specified a low building height for One Fullerton across the road. This also ensured that guests at the Fullerton Hotel would have unobstructed views of the sea. Architecture and conservation. Original design. The grey Aberdeen granite Fullerton Building sits on 41,100 square metres of land. The height of its walls measures 36.6 metres from the ground. The building has neoclassical architectural features which include fluted Doric colonnades on their heavy base, and the lofty portico over the main entrance with trophy designs and the royal coat of arms, crafted by Italian Cavaliere Rudolfo Nolli. Originally, there were 5 distinct frontages, each treated in the Doric order. 14 elevators served the 4 floors plus the basement floors. A hollow cellular raft foundation was proposed by the original contractors in the 1920s to save costs because bedrock lies directly below the building. Restoration. The Fullerton Building restoration project from 1998 to 2000 was one of the few conservation projects in the world involving an institutional building. Architects 61, together with DP Consultants, was engaged to convert it into a 400-room luxury hotel. The hotel rooms were designed by Hirschbner Associates. During its redevelopment, the historical building had most of his special architectural features retained and restored. The conservation work was coordinated by URA, which had certain stipulations that the new owners had to comply with. Several features of the original building had to be restored faithfully. These included the general post office gallery area on the ground floor, with bays that corresponded with the building's towering Doric columns on the 4-section aid, and the Straits Club billiard room. The post office gallery no longer exists, but has been subdivided to provide a bar, a restaurant and the hotel foyer. The Straits Club billiard room was kept, but without its wood paneling. Exterior works. The building's neoclassical columns and high-ceiling verandas were retained. It was clad in Shanghai plaster panels, which have been restored. The owners converted the windows back to be housed in timber frames. Part of the tunnel under Fullerton Road, which was used to transfer mail onto ships waiting in the harbour, has also been kept. Interior works. While the building's exterior has been conserved, the developers had also to transform the interior into a 5-star hotel. The room on the 4th story, where the British governor was first told of the British military's decision to surrender to the Japanese during World War II, was converted to an exclusive lounge. The room has a barrel-vaulted, coffered ceiling, which is the only one of its kind in Singapore. The building's historical lighthouse, which used to guide ships into the port, has been incorporated into a food and beverage outlet. The Fullerton Light, a revolving beacon of 540 kilocandelas mounted on the roof of the building, was installed in 1958 to replace the Fort Canning lighthouse which was being demolished. The beacon could be seen by ships 29 kilometers away. The lighthouse has been moved to a new location as an artifact near Harbourfront Tower. The Fullerton Building was designed for natural ventilation before the age of air conditioning. One of the architectural devices used to provide this was the internal airwells. There were 4 airwells along the central longitudinal axis, divided by 3 internal bays of offices, linking the front 4-section aid with the rear. It was the largest and the last example of this kind of architecture in Singapore. As air conditioning became increasingly common, the airwells became redundant. 2 parallel sets of guest rooms now ring the hotel's central triangular skylit atrium. One row faces out towards the harbour and the tall buildings of the central business district. The rooms of the inner ring have views of the courtyard in the centre of the building. There is an indoor garden over the Old Straits Club at the centre of the atrium which can double as a venue for cocktails. The main entrance into the hotel, where dignitaries and celebrities are received, is covered with a large glass canopy at the porch. Structural and foundation works. Construction work in the interior was carried out to reinforce the beams and columns, while retrofitting done on the exterior to restore the four-section aid. Although studies carried out before the renovation work began showed most of the raft foundation was still in good condition, water from the adjacent Singapore River had seeped slowly into some of the foundation cells over the years, flooding parts of the old basement. As a result, a new precast concrete platform was built over the cells, and waterproofing added. Pillars supporting the entire building now rest on the platform. The engineering team installed a new set of 5 drainage pumps to counteract the slow seepage of river water. As the building sits on solid rock foundation, no additional piling was required. Gazetting as National Monument, the building was officially gazetted on December 7, 2015 as Singapore's 71st National Monument, by the country's National Heritage Board. With its new status, the building will be preserved under the Preservation of Monuments Act. The former Fullerton Building is one of 3 icons to be given the National Monument status this year. The other 2 are Jurong Town Hall and Astana Kampong Glam. Facilities: the Fullerton Hotel Singapore has 400 rooms and suites which either overlook the atrium courtyard, or face downtown Singapore's skyline, the Singapore River Promenade or the Marina Bay. The hotel has a 25-meter outdoor infinity swimming pool, fitness center and a luxury spa. It also has 5 food and beverage outlets. For business travelers, the hotel has a 24-hour financial center with the Bloomberg Professional Service that provides financial reports and world news, and 15 meeting rooms equipped with conference facilities. Awards: the Fullerton Hotel Singapore has won major travel awards such as the Conda Copyright NAS Traveller Gold List Award. On July 18, 2001, the hotel received an Architectural Heritage Award from the Urban Redevelopment Authority for its successful restoration of the former Fullerton Building. Notes and references. Further reading: Melanie Chu. Memories of the Fullerton. Singapore, the Fullerton Hotel Singapore. ISBN 981-04-4777-9. William Warren, Jill Gotcha. Asia's Legendary Hotels, The Romance of Travel. Singapore, Periplus Editions. ISBN 978-0-7946-0174-4. External links: the Fullerton Hotel homepage, 360-degree panoramic view from the roof of the Fullerton Hotel virtual tour.